Let's talk about Sony State of Play, the GDC Festival of Gaming, Valve's lawsuit, and more on today's Week in Culture.
All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be, and welcome to Honey Badger Arcade. My name is Brian, I'm here with John, and this is the Week in Culture, where we discuss the news of the cultural news of the week and put a little bit of a, like, I don't know, what I would consider to be a deeper dive, if possible, into these things. So, welcome, John, how are you?
Oh, awesome as always. Been a busy week and set to be a very, very busy day. As I was telling you right before we started, I've got this obviously as scheduled, and then I got pickup streams for, I guess donation milestone unlocks. So doing some probably I think Jackbox over Will's later on.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then,
Jackbox.
yeah, and Scooby Pup is basically celebrating. Not necessarily, she's been doing this a little over a year, but her 50th episode of her main show this afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. So I've been cordially invited there since I helped her actually get it off the ground over a year ago. So yeah, it's going to be a fun-filled day, and I'm sure we don't have time to waste because there's plenty of stuff to cover because obviously, your wife wasn't feeling well last weekend, so you did the noble thing and spent Valentine's Day taking care of a sick.
It was Valentine's Day, yeah.
So yeah. Let's with that said,
try to catch up on because we got 2 weeks worth of content basically, but I think we can do good in catching up on everything. So first of all, let me give a shout out to the people that are tuning in now. Hello, Murder of Crows, Mr. 0303, Robert Johnson, Bob the Darkest Fairy. Welcome to all of y'all for joining me on the show. All right, so let's start by talking a little bit about the absolute state of play, as I call the show, the Sony State of Play. So a couple of things. I don't know if this got announced there because I didn't watch the State of Play, but GTA 6, just so you guys know, has been pushed back again.
You don't say. Yeah. I mean, yeah, if we didn't already have a thumbnail for today, I would probably be using, I think I've used that same thumbnail 3 or 4 times now. So I just
no, it's okay. I like the thumbnail because we're definitely going to talk about that too. But
right.
But I just want to open up by saying, this week, GTA 6 pushed back again. So we'll be back when it gets pushed back again. This time to November 19th of this year. Right. So
I can't wait until they blame it on the RAM and hard drive or SSD storage, and because ultimately they're looking at this thing. There's just gonna be a launch title for the PS6 at this point, and that keeps getting pushed off. I mean, that's all. The PS5 is not going to have a full, and even if it does, it's going to be a weak ass version of it. But yeah, the GTA 6 it's vaporware. It is Duke Nukem, forever. It's just
I mean that's like even assuming that anyone that watches this show is interested, but it's not really about like whether or not it's for you to buy. It's so that you can see like it's like to get a look at the industry, because GTA is like basically what people think of that are like not hardcore gamers when they think of gaming. They think of GTA, right? In general, like the franchise. So, yeah, I don't know if it's got something to do. I've heard the RAM thing going around. I thought about covering that one as a story. I've heard from some that it's actually a made-up crisis.
It is. The way that
you talk a little bit about it then.
Yeah, because the way that it evolved, NVIDIA basically said to the RAM companies, "Hey, can we contract you for all of your production?" And they didn't pay up front. Like, and that's the whole thing. This is a manufactured crisis, and I believe that this is more to go along. We're not going to get completely wushu, but if you got you got a tinfoil hat handy, I do believe that this is a lot of that 2030 initiative of you will own nothing and be happy, and this is conditioning people to not being able to buy things by pricing it out of your hands to the point to where, you know, like it will only be for certain people until they can get everybody else conditioned into the idea that you can, you know, just lease your time using these huge data center servers and things like that while you're constantly being tracked and monitored with everything that you do within their systems is ultimately what I believe it's actually about. And they're just putting the, you know, the face on it of, oh, well, we need these data centers and, you know, like got to do this. So yeah, much like many things in our world that exist through Twilight language and moon speak and, you know, double meanings and things like that. Yeah, the data center angle is just, it's smoke and mirrors for what I think is actually going
on. Yeah, I mean, just a quick follow up. Like I don't have anything against the franchise personally, but I think that GTA 6 is likely one of the reasons why it's so delayed is it's likely going to be an absolutely bloated game. Like they're going to put so much in it because they're trying to top 5, which, you know, we're trying to top 4, you know, like this thing that it's sort of like how Red Dead 2, and I like Red Dead Redemption, but Red Dead 2 did seem to be a little bit, despite being bigger in every way, seemed to be less enjoyable. I got bored sooner, and I don't know if it was because it was just too much. Like you can get, I think open worlds can get too much. You know, like the Elden Ring open world, even if it's a smaller world, I'm not really sure. I don't really care about the scope of it. Because every area was interesting, I was hooked on it. From like, it was one of the few open world games I finished, you know, at least once, almost 2 times. I just haven't been on it in a while. I don't normally do that with those kinds of games, right? So it's not really about like the scale. It's more about like the immersion, the immersion, but also like how much content that's enjoyable is in that space, right?
Right.
So like if there's a lot of like, you know, collectathons or a lot of like bullshit quests, like in the Assassin's Creed games,
and and that's what I mean.
I'm just gonna get bored of that stuff.
Yeah, because there is a certain amount of actually like, oh, there's things to do, but then when they start overinflating it just to keep you busy and whatnot, that I think actually works against the immersive aspect of it, because all of a sudden now you just feel like, all right, I get out of work and I come home to kind of like escape the tedium of my work day, and now I'm set up with a whole new set of tasks that just seems like it's just to make someone feel as though, you know, they've accomplished a goal and making you spend more time there. I think that GTA 6 is going to effectively end up being a parody of itself to some degree, because it's just, as we've mentioned before, they're paying the DEI tax because of the hashtag #MeToo stuff. And there certainly were some people within their organization that were up to some questionable practices. But the way that their whole business structure has now been undermined and kind of put through the filtering process of DEI initiatives and the like. I know this thing is still going to make tons of money. It'll probably actually even be legitimately profitable, more than just a sandwich. But they are losing out on a large.
We're gonna get to that. I have a story later that seems to suggest that like the problem is with GTA's like 6 is a indicative of the issue in AAA gaming, which is not just the size of the games, but the size of the budget and the investment that goes into making it, and how I think it's going to be the reason why there is a crash. Now, when I say there's a crash coming, that doesn't mean that there won't be games. What it means is I think that the top people are going to like seriously, you know, engage in some severe cuts to staff and various other investments, and investors that don't really play games are going to like step away to invest in something else. But I'm seeing, well, we're going to get to it in one of the stories I have, is the actual shift where gamers are going, and they're not playing video games, at least not to the same degree, especially the younger generation, right? So they're not as invested in the AAA space. But anyway, I'm going to, we're going to talk about something else. We're going to move on. I just want to quickly give you guys an update. GTA 6 is still not here yet.
Right. We'll have more. We'll have more
wondering.
than enough time to talk about GTA
Yeah,
6
yeah.
because it's never coming out. So
it may never come out. It may go the way of Daikatana or something. Daikatana did eventually come out, didn't it? I don't know.
to very little fanfare and and the detriment to John Romero's.
Well, what I meant to say was Beyond Good and Evil 2. It's gonna be like that. But okay. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about this one. I'm gonna just look at some of your comments and we're gonna move on. So Daniel Morphing says I think he's in the special chat, the vertical chat. I don't know. With all the hype about GTA 6 coming out, I really don't care, and I really hope it fails. I don't know why. I really don't want this game to succeed. Well, I mean, I don't want it to fail because I think it's going to affect people's livelihoods, but because there are people who work at Rockstar, and the employees are not part of the problem there, but I think that it's, like I said, I think that it's going to happen. I don't have a feeling on that, but I think they're going to suffer. So, Daniel says GTA 5 is going to kill video gaming like the way ET did during the Atari era. You mean 6, right? You mean 6? Yeah, you meant 6.
Yeah.
Because 5 is still going, like it's still huge for some reason. Okay. So let's see. Murder of Crows says that got bought up. Oh, I should go back. PS5 hasn't even been exploited by current games to its full potential. Imagine if dev studios would de-bloat the game software. PS5 is supercomputer console territory compared to the PS3 that got bought up to strip the chips for guiding systems back in the day. I remember they were using PS3s to like do protein folding. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, the cell networks, dude.
Yeah, you could like leave it on and it would like they would like use it to fold proteins or something. I thought it was kind of neat. For some reason, we don't hear about that anymore at all. Personally, I know the PS3 got a lot of shit, but I like the console. So
PS3 was peak.
It was great. It was great to me. I mean, it was unfortunately the Xbox 360 was a more popular console in the West, like in America. And I get it. They had Gears of War, they had Halo, they had all these like hit after hit after hit. And the PlayStation stuff was a little bit more like, it wasn't as appealing to the mainstream, but I liked the library. It was more like what I wanted. I liked the Japanese games. So
by the time it was all said and done with, PS3 definitely redeemed itself because when they first came out, they had their moment of, oh, well, people will get extra, they'll get a part-time job to pay for this thing. They had their moment of hubris and they got soundly beaten about the ears up until the point in time that Metal Gear Solid 4 came out. And then at which point in time they were able to kind of start rebounding because they had a killer app that still, even by today's standards, looks fucking phenomenal and amazing. Which will be a nice kind of segue into getting to talk about what is coming next, I'm sure. But the PS3 as a console though was the last open source system of console. Like it's an aberration because they're just like, just hook whatever you want up to it. You don't have to pay for online access. Looking back, the PS3 is peak PlayStation hardware. Even
people complain about the price. I have the one that came with the backwards compatibility for PS2 and PlayStation, which was awesome. But the problem is the way that they did it in the hardware, because it was essentially two consoles in there. Like there was it
literally had a
PS2 inside the PS3. So that's how they got it to work, and then they removed it, and it also had like extra ports and stuff too. Like this one, now they stripped it down to lower the price. But anyway, like this isn't a conversation about PlayStation 3. I still have my PS3. I still love my PS3. So anyway, so all that stuff is kind of like yesterday. Like there's no backwards compatible consoles anymore. Like they don't do that anymore. Now everything is pay for live. I remember I did an interview with another guy who's like a developer that has a little podcast. And he was asking me about like what my favorite console was, and his was the Xbox 360. Mine was the PlayStation. Well, I said the best console is PS2, like overall the best one. But I did make clear that I still really enjoyed my time with the PS3 and the PS4 and the PlayStation, the original. a lot, even though I own an Xbox, like I own an original Xbox. I own a GameCube, which I think is a really good console that unfortunately, you know, it got kind of screwed because I don't know, Nintendo didn't know what they wanted to do with it. And I own a Dreamcast, speaking of like consoles that weren't treated, that were done dirty.
Right.
But,
ahead of its time. And
yeah. But the thing is, our conversation, we talked, I told them that the thing that I resented about the Xbox was that they were charging for online.
Right.
Xbox Live was something they were charging for. And I told him that I had a friend who was this guy who made pretty good money. So he didn't really see a problem with paying for stuff. And he was always caping for Xbox Live. And he, you know, in a way it was in a way it had advantages over the PlayStation Online because it was like something they were paying for. And so you were like in a hub with other people. Whereas on the PS3, you know, each game that had online, you had to use their sort of like built-in service, right? So if you wanted to play, you know, Resident Evil 5 with a friend, then you had to use the in-game mechanics to like hook up with a buddy, and you had to chat in the game, like if it had chat. Whereas Xbox Live, everyone could chat. You know, you had like, it was a different system. So there were more features, but you were paying for it. And my friend was saying, well, it's just better. So like, we should just, and I was like, yeah, but here's the problem with that. If Xbox does this, and I said this years ago, I said, if Xbox does this and it's successful, then everyone else is going to follow suit and do it too. Because right now, you know, at that point, online gaming was just getting into the consoles, right? It was on PC forever. And on PC, you had like, I forgot what that service was, but there was this, because I didn't really have a PC, but I knew people who play Alien versus Predator, you know, on PC, or they would play Unreal Tournament or something, or Half-Life or whatever it was, Battlefield 1941. And they had like, you know, each game, you could just play it online because everyone had the internet. But Xbox turned it into a service.
Right.
And I warned him, if they do that, everyone else is going to start doing it. And then they're gonna make it more and more exclusive. Like they're gonna make it where they, you know, oh, you want these little features, you got to do this, right? They might have like a free version and a paid version or whatever. Sure enough, that's what happened, right?
Yep.
Sony basically made PlayStation Plus, which I was like, okay, you know, I'll pay for it, because they, at the time, they justified it by saying every month we'll give you free things or discounts on things. Right. And they did do that. And I said, okay, this is like easing me into it, but I wanted to play with my friends, so it was the only way to do it. So I warned about that. And again, I think that it's Microsoft's fault. Like they're the ones that they opened the door for that, and they made that happen. So and this is like, again, now I'm mostly playing on my PC. So I don't worry about that anymore, because like
right.
But
it
now
comes all the way right back to the start. Yeah.
Now we've gone full circle, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And yeah, no, I certainly had my concerns when Xbox Live, because I had Xbox Live. I think I got it within the first month of it actually being operational. But when it was a $50 expense, I did it begrudgingly under the idea of like, well, it's $1 a week at that price, but I knew full well that this was not going to last. But now where they're wanting you basically paying, you know, what, $50 a month to have services and things like that, in addition to, you know, you got to first pay for, you know, your Xbox Live account, but then if you want to like have Game Pass, you got to pay for that too. And it's way too much, and it's gotten over bloated and completely gotten away from the idea of what it was even about. And their whole purpose being that it was supposed to be a secure network, and we've come to realize that that's not the case. Even though they run on their own specific networks, if someone is committed, they will find a way to hack your shit and still get to, you know, data. And so it's completely found itself worthless just through the passage of time. And right now, Valve is, I think, getting prepped to eat everyone's lunch as long as this you know, RAM.
I got a good story on Valve too, but we're gonna talk about the Sony State of Play, because I didn't do a show last weekend. That was gonna be the main, one of the main topics, but we'll touch on it a little bit. I think that this is a better State of Play than previous ones.
It
but the
did
bar
turn
is
out
pretty
far
low.
better than I expected. Yes,
Yeah,
bar
there's,
was
like,
bar was
more
low.
aggressive stuff than you would expect. But what were you
Konami
gonna say?
carried the thing. Konami carried it. I will say that straight up. I was
Konami?
expecting, I was expecting to just, we had a similar kind of title for when, because we did a live stream over on Will's channel when it while it was going, and we just got into it talking about, oh, this thing's gonna just be completely a pointless endeavor.
Mhm.
We're kind of wasting our time here, but it'll be fun, like, ripping the shit out of everything. And then kept you waiting, huh? It's like,
Yeah.
oh shit. Then just Konami just owned the whole like middle
Well,
point.
they came out. They released there's another Silent Hill, which I'm not like. I think Silent Hill is done. Like, I'm not. It doesn't do anything for me. It's sort of like, it's kind of like the Predator franchise. Like, there's some really good ones early on. Like, I like the first 2 Predator movies, but most of those movies are trash. And I think it's the same thing with Silent Hill. Like, the first 4, maybe. I mean, some people don't really consider The Room a Silent Hill game. I think it wasn't originally a Silent Hill game, but they made it one. But like, Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3, very solid entries. And then I think they just forgot what it was about. And then, it became, they were just trying to make it like Resident Evil.
And then they tried to force
it just doesn't
Pyramid
work.
Head into everything when Pyramid Head was supposed to be a very specific embodiment of the psychological torture within James's conscious, and so it just became about it's kind of like Star Wars at this point in time. AT-ATs and all all the stuff where it's like, right, and
well, that's the thing, they don't have anything, so they're just using like the visual tropes of the successful games to create interest, but anyway, so Silent Hill not so good, but I think there's like a Castlevania coming, which looks like a good throwback. If I remember, I saw like a brief trailer, and then we have, of course, the Metal Gear Solid Collection 2, and I gotta say, just because I gotta ask, okay, so I still have Guns of the Patriots, but I've never played Peace Walker. Was that one of the ones that was on a portable console?
Yes, it was on the PlayStation Vita, but it did so well on the Vita, and the Vita did not sell, that they did make an HD release that came out specifically back on the PS3 and the PS4. You could get it. So I played a little bit of Peace Walker. It also has a 4-player multiplayer kind of aspect to it.
Like a co-op or like a
deathmatch
type of thing?
It's like did you ever play Link's? Oh god, I can't remember the name of it. But they made
there was like, was it on is you talking about that Legend of Zelda game that's like a 4-player co-op and they're like 4 different links?
Yes.
I've never played it, but I know the one you're talking about.
Something akin to that, where everybody, like, you go in there and like you're all just on the same battlefield and you're working cooperatively to kind of get through the scenarios and whatnot. Peace Walker, and Peace Walker, quite honestly, when you talk about even though it's not a numbered game, it is as close to a full game entry into actually explaining what's going on within the character shift from Big Boss being, this heroic figure, to the guy who's kind of getting disillusioned by all the stuff that he's doing this stuff for. It is a very, very important part within the actual larger narrative of the main entries of the series. So Peace Walker, if you've never played it, that is another reason to pick this up. And of course, MGS4, just being able to play it again after nearly 20 years.
It's hard to, you know what? I feel like MGS4 is still pretty new, but it's 20 years old. Almost.
Right. Because it still looks better than most modern games.
Just like, make sure you have some popcorn for like the cinematics. When you get to the end, just relax, because it's like an hour and a half long cutscene, but But
Going
I
through
mean,
the
I enjoyed Metal
cutscenes
Gear Solid
of
4,
Metal
and
Gear
actually,
Solid 4 is like watching all 3 extended versions of Lord of the Rings.
yeah,
I'm willing
yeah,
to do both because I love them both. You know?
yeah. By the way, I believe that's Delta's on sale, so I think
Oh
it's like
yeah,
half off or something right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
If
50%
you're
off
interested.
currently, and 30% off on the Master Collection. I think for a few more days. But thankfully, I already have both. I've it's been my quest to get all the Metal Gears on my Steam system so that I can always just have them and never have to really worry about it going forward. So I've been
Master Goa said, and I
patient.
meant to ask this, like where this fits in. Master Goa said, Peace Walker is the direct sequel to Metal Gear Solid 3. So it's
Yes.
right after MGS 3, right
Mhm.
after. Yeah,
After
so
Delta.
that's because I was wondering where that falls in the timeline as well.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. Isn't there like a Metal Gear Acid or something? Are those part of the canon?
Those all right, so that is another clone, but it's not just a clone. All right, so you know how a copy of a copy becomes more smudged as time
Yeah.
goes by. So Acid is a clone of Solid Snake, who obviously is a clone of Big Boss.
Big Boss.
So, right. So Acid is it's curiosity. You know, it's got some stuff in there that you can kind of glean some stuff from, but it's not necessarily considered full on canon. There are suggestive kind of things, but when you start kind of getting into some aspects of Metal Gear, it does start to get to a multifaceted state of reality possibly taking place, and I think that those ideas became fully expressed in Death Stranding, which is part of the reason why I love Death Stranding so much, is because when Metal Gear Survive came out, right, and everybody was like, "What the fuck is this? Why is this even using Metal Gear as a way to try to get itself over?" It's because those were actually concepts that are kind of in there, and when you actually look at the similarities between what goes on in Metal Gear Survive, which I'm not saying is a good game, it's a terrible game, and the way that they kind of tried to turn it into just a mobile game on your console that you're gonna have to pay for getting nickeled and dimed. But the concepts that are in there are actually kind of similar to what's going on in Death Stranding. So as time has gone by, I've kind of like, maybe, just maybe, when you look at these kind of side titles, because there's some people that debate Portable Ops being whether or not that's actually canon, because it plays around with elements of timelines and who you can recruit and this and that. But it's fun, it's just a fun experience, and the the play mechanics are great. But in terms of whether it actually is there, like, you could even argue Metal Gear Ghost Babel that they've got here is a reinterpretation.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
It's a reinterpretation of Shadow Moses that has a few little kind of slight variations as well. So there's some stuff at play when you start looking into Metal Gear about.
You're gonna need it's an iceberg, as it were, the Metal Gear iceberg. I'm sure someone made a video about it. But we're gonna move away from that. But I mean, it's not. Well, I'm kind of interested in Peace Walker, but I'll have to see like how much it is when it comes out and stuff. And maybe I'll look into it later. I might get Delta because it's on sale, but I haven't decided. I'm still working on Fallout New Vegas. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think about this announcement, the Metal Gear one. Is this something that you're interested in? Some people, we got like some big Metal Gear fans in the audience. The other thing I wanted to mention, so yeah, there were a lot of like good things that came out, at least things that look pretty promising. The John Wick game, they're made by the same guys that made Space Marine 2. So to me, that's like, that could be really good. I just don't know like what the gameplay is. It's very early. They're not even like, they're just calling it John Wick game. So like it's very early, which is kind of strange. Like normally you don't see trailers for games until at least they're past like the alpha stage, and they're like showing you like, like giving you a good idea of what the game is going to be about. So I don't know if this is like intended to create pre-hype or what, but John Wick, I like the guys at Saber Entertainment. I love Space Marine 2. So like it could be good. So that looks promising. Then there's a game called Kena Scars of Cosmora.
Yes, the Zelda. The Zelda game.
but I never played the original, but that one is very popular with people too.
Yeah.
And it has like this, like interesting, like kind of Pixar, DreamWorks kind of art style, and they're making a sequel, which was, I guess, something nobody saw coming. So, and of course, there's some games that I was always interested in, like Tokon, Marvel Tokon, that was coming. But did you want to say anything about, because you were going to speak up on Kena, I think? Were you going to say anything about that?
Well, I mean, it does look interesting. Kind of looks, if you are into, Legend of Zelda games.
But you don't have like a Nintendo?
But you don't have, and you've kind of stepped away from all that kind of stuff, then this would be a place to kind of get that fix, it looks like. I mean, I don't know that it's necessarily something that I'm gonna have enough disposable income to really throw money at, but it doesn't look offensive.
It's not for me, but it's nice that there's like different stuff coming out. Like basically the Sony State of Play, in order for it not to be like a loss, all they had to do was not release a bunch of like live service extraction shooter games.
And I will say that
they didn't do that. So
right, and the female character that's the lead in that game actually looks like a female character.
Looks like a female, yeah.
right. So,
but then there was God of War, the trilogy remake, and I hear that there's probably going to be some changes made. Maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of yelling about it because they're releasing. So they're remaking the original God of War trilogy, which were the good games that were like involved the Greeks and Kratos being like a rage machine, which is what he was supposed to be.
That's right.
The developer and director of God of War, David Jaffe, said from the beginning, it was like you had like a long day at work, you want to come home and you want to like take your frustrations out on monsters. And that's why you play God of War. It's like, why do I play? I used to play Dynasty Warriors all the time, and it was for the same reason. It's like, oh man, I just I did like I pulled a 12-hour shift. I think I'm gonna kill 1,000 Chinese people. And that's what I would do in Dynasty Warriors, and it was easy to do that.
Yeah, in the early 2000s, there was two very testosterone-driven characters. Obviously, one of them being Kratos, the other being Brock Samson. And since there wasn't a Brock Samson game, Kratos was, God of War.
The issue is, though, with the remakes anyway, Kratos also got busy with some of the women in the games. And I think specifically in God of War 3, there is a scene with Aphrodite and a couple of like other ladies that were just there. But I don't think that's the only example. Because I think
no. That used to be how you got your
health and like XP. Yeah.
3 ways specifically. It seemed, like at least 2 women in every encounter.
I never played God of War 2 though, and so that's one of the reasons why I'm interested in this, because I mean, again, I don't know if I'm gonna get it. It depends on how it's where it's gonna be on, because I don't have a PS5 and I'm not getting one.
I am a little bit leery on it. I'm gonna wait to find out if last year, as we just mentioned, while it's on sale for 50% off, Metal Gear Solid Delta is probably one of the best remakes in the sense of actually doing it with a goodwill effort and just trying to take something that you remember within your halcyon kind of nostalgia and say, well, let's go and actually make what you think that you remember and actually have it playable in a way that's not going to be offensive and actually does right by your memories, but also looks really incredible and has some modern control improvements. But other than that, everything's untouched and it exists as it was. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen with God of War. I certainly hope that it does. If it does,
I think they're going to try and like do something about not only the sex scenes, the sex mini games in those games, but also there are points. I know for sure there's at least one point in one of the games where you kill a female slave to open a door. So like because like because again, he's just brutal to everybody who's in his way because he's got a goal. and it's meant to be over the top. This is the guy who created Twisted Metal. But I think the modern like developers, not even like the modern audience basically doesn't exist, but like the people in the space, the people who work in the companies and the activists and the journalists that are applying the most pressure are probably going to tell them to change that. And I'm expecting that to change. I'm expecting it to be a male instead, or it's going to be something different. Like they're just going to take that out. Like the door's just going to be open. I don't know. So I don't know. We'll see how they do it, but I expect censorship, and I kind of hope it happens because I want people to see how these people operate. So that's what I think anyway.
Right.
And then there was another God of War.
They'll keep 3 webs. They'll just turn it into making sure that there's also another dude there or something.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, they'll probably just make another dude. And make sure that he's like a straight hyper masculine dude, not like a gay dude or something, or a eunuch, because that wouldn't be fair to those people. So it's got to be like an image of masculinity that he's killing to progress. That way we can, that way it makes the argument that patriarchy hurts men too. Right. But yeah, I don't. But anyway, so there's another God of War game coming out. It's called Sons of Sparta, and I guess it's available now. And it is a 2D side scroller type game. I didn't really, when I saw it, I was like, if you didn't tell me this was God of War, I wouldn't know. I would just think it's like, Greek, like it would have been like a remake of Trojan. You guys remember the old arcade game by Capcom called Trojan? I mean, I remember that game. Yeah, this is like me showing my age. It was like a side scroller, and you were a Trojan warrior, and you had a shield, and it was made by Capcom, and it was just like a side scroller. I think it was like 6 levels, a boss at the end of each one. Very straightforward.
Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo looks better than this game.
This doesn't look good to me either. It doesn't look good. But you know who really wasn't happy with Sons of Sparta? David Jaffe.
Oh, now that is kind of a wow.
Yeah, David Jaffe disappointed. And this is he basically, so the creator of God of War does not like the direction PlayStation has taken with the series. Mm-hmm. And he said the series, okay, let me just see. David Jaffe, not a huge fan of the new direction the series has gone in. Jaffe himself hasn't worked on any of the God of War games since Santa Monica took over. Obviously, he wasn't involved with New God of War or Sad Dad of War or whatever it is. Right. But he complained about those initially, but then he kind of he pulled a Mark Hamill and was like, well, I guess that's just what they're doing with the character now, and just threw his hands up. And then he started caping for people. He was like, well, these people work really hard, and I don't really care that they're basically castrating my guy, right? And when they made was it God of War Ragnarok, where they literally have a scene where they explicitly say your Kratos is bad,
Kratos is killing
Kratos is good. You know that the bit where he confronts his old self.
Yep.
And even then he was like, well, I mean, I guess I just gotta get with the times, Yeah. And now they're making this one, and he's
a dad of woke himself, so
Oh, I know that. He let his kid transition. But my point is that he's continuously being disappointed by what is happening to his IP, or at least has happened to the IP that he has given away. And he has not accepted that it's his fault.
Right.
That's right. Because he allowed this to happen. I would have at least made a stink about it. Like, even if I couldn't actually, go into the studio and make them change anything, I would have been vocal. And I would have made a stink about it. And I think that if he did that, he would have actually probably had an effect on sales. Because then people would be like, well, the guy who made the game didn't like the game, so I'm not going to buy the game, right?
Right. Unlike, unlike Gene Roddenberry, who was dead before, Kurtzman came and completely completely fucked over Star Trek as a series. And to even some degree, Jar Jar Abrams as well. If you're dead, you can't stop it. So David Jaffe at this point in time, he's still alive, and even though he's softened or whatever due to his political alignments and things like that, let your art be separate from you at a certain point in time, he You didn't do the thing that was important, which was actually advocating for this thing that, even though he may be different, you know, at the point in time in his life when it came out as a piece of art, you know, his artistic integrity is non-existent, because, you know, like if I can understand, you know, Trent Reznor doesn't necessarily put out the same music that he used to, because he's not the same guy. You know, he's got 5 kids, he's got all this stuff, he lives in LA now, you know, but I can at least respect the fact that, like, if he's playing a song from one of the older albums, it's still, you know, with all that same intensity and veracity and everything like that. He's not sitting here trying to reinterpret his old shit because he's changed, you know. And that is kind of the failing of Jaffe, is that he can't even understand the importance of what he had done when he had done it, and how it's, you know, even if it's emblematic of the early 2000s when, you know, toxic masculinity was at its peak or whatever. Yeah, cool. Let it speak for itself, you know, and let that be the thing. And even if that's not the way it is now, I suppose, you know, like, do everything you can to at least have that there, so that when they talk about this isn't made for you or whatever, well, then stop fucking with the stuff that was, you know. And if you want to have your new thing and have it be stupid in a watered down version and make it for a specific kind of audience, whatever. But if you're going to go and undermine the actual thing that even gave you an opportunity to do that kind of shit, then you deserve no praise. And, you know, no one's going to come to your defense. That, and he's also just kind of, you know, he's a lol cow at this point in time himself.
Yeah, well, I think he's just clueless. He thinks that, like, again, he's one of these people that believes that just what it means to be a good person is essentially lying to yourself and to the people closest to you, because you want to protect their feelings, and that just doesn't make you a good person. Like,
gaslighting yourself.
He basically let his daughter delude herself into thinking that she's a boy.
Right.
And he is defending her, like, vigorously. And I get that he loves his child, or at least that's what he thinks he's supposed to do. Right. But I don't think that that's love.
Right.
So I think that's like a self-preservation of your own ego, because you want to be liked by people.
Yeah. Yeah. Because instead of raising his own kid, he's letting society do that.
Yes. He's letting society raise his child and destroy her. So, you know, and I do have sympathy. Like, I think that's he's going to learn that was a mistake, and I think it's going to hurt a lot. Mm-hmm. But that aside, this is like this permissiveness about this stuff. And, you know, again, his creative work is being undermined. I don't even, this like Son of Sparta thing or whatever it is, Sons of Sparta, it does not look like, I know people are praising it for some reason, but like there's plenty of like 2D pixel-based games I could play that I think are probably a lot more rewarding. I mean, I have 2 of them, Shinobi, which is amazing, and Ninja Gaiden, which is also really good. People are playing the shit out of, you know, what's the one with the Hornet? I'm already forgetting. Hollow Knight, but like the sequel.
Yes,
Silk Song. Hollow Knight Silk Song, that's what it is. Yeah, everyone's playing that one. And of course, Konami's coming out with another Castlevania, which I think, yeah, it's about time.
Yeah.
Well, Capcom's got a new Mega Man. So yeah, I mean, I think we're good. I don't think Sons of Sparta's gonna like stand up to that.
And from what I recall of the original trilogy, it does seem like this is kind of undermining the diegesis of the lore.
Retconning stuff. Yeah. They might. Hell, I mean, this game could have, you know, Kratos and his buddy like have gay sex or something, and they'll use, oh, well, the Greeks, you know, to justify it, and then it'll be like the absolute cucking of Kratos.
Right.
Okay. But anyway, let me see what you guys have to say, and then we're going to move on to the next story. Let's see. Mr. 03 says, Metal Gear Solid 4 nearly made me piss my pants watching the end cutscene because he had to hold it in.
Right. You just got to hook yourself up to a catheter for that.
Okay. Murder Crow says DG Remaster has Horde Assault and helps fans like me get over not getting a sequel. G. What's that stand for? I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm sorry. Gabriel says Portable Ops is the direct sequel to MGS3. Acid is non-canon, different timeline. Maybe. I you know what? The whole thing is very confused. Oh, Ghost. This could retcon Ghost of Sparta. Yeah. Master Grower says Portable Ops should be canon because it fits in nicely story-wise but only Kojima games are officially canon, despite whether they break continuity.
That's what
or
I mean
not.
with the portable ops.
Yeah.
They hint around it, but because they were out of his direct control, they're not considered completely canon. That, and you can go and you can have
Days Gone. Yeah, that's a good game.
Yeah, you can recruit Old Snake. You can recruit like all these characters that don't exist within that time frame.
Right. I get you. Okay,
but yeah.
But it's like fan servicey, which is fine, right? Yeah.
Yes, but it is an awesome. I have both of them, portable ops and portable.
Is Metal Gear Rising canon then? Does that even though that's not
yes, Rising takes place after MGS4. But yes, I do have my my God of War edition PSP right here, specifically so that I can still play portable ops.
Mr. 0303 says trusting Sony Santa Monica after they shat on real Kratos is absurd. Sex mini games are a God of War tradition until new God of War. Yeah. James OP, welcome to the chat. He says you have to be old for that game. Thank you for the comment. Gabriel says Path of Neo had such a wild ending. Yes, Path of Neo, that was a good game actually. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Where you fight gigantic Smith. Like even they had a whole thing with the Wachowskis.
It was like a Conker's Bad Fur Day ending where they actually legitimately like break the fourth wall and like, look.
We're
playing the game here, man. Like,
yeah. Like, look, you need a boss fight at the end of this. We're not gonna, So yeah, no, I think Path of Neo was a good time. A lot better than Enter the Matrix. I did not like that game.
Oh god, the high arm running. Oh Jesus.
Oh
man.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get too far off track.
No, I'm just like Enter the Matrix was bad. They were really trying to turn that into a thing too. Remember when it was like they had the new Matrix was coming out. Was it the second one? Reloaded. Matrix Reloaded was coming out, and Warner Brothers and the Wachowskis were trying to make it into a phenomenon, like a cultural phenomenon. They were like, we're gonna have a game, we're gonna have an anime because that's the Animatrix came out. And we're gonna do the movie, and there was something else too, I think. But I remember those three things. And the Animatrix is cool. I have it on DVD or on Blu-ray or something. Yeah. But Enter the Matrix, no, it was not a good game. And who wants to be fucking Jada Pinkett Smith? Like, who wants to do that?
You could, it was her and the other guy. Once you got 5 minutes into that game, you're going, and as soon as the fucking arms, like that gate of motion, it just completely. Oh man.
Gabriel says Enter the Matrix had that fighting game mode where you can play as cars that fight like humans. I don't remember that. Right. Animatrix was the second best Matrix movie. Yeah, it was solid. Yeah. Some of the shorts were a little bit preachy. But I liked some of them too. I think that they definitely got a little bit preachy and woke. So anyway, gameplay was great because it had disarm kills or level 3 weapon strip. Yeah, well, the thing, the Path of Neo is good because it's a power fantasy, and some video games should just do that, right? They're like, I want to be. That's what Kratos is again. The God of War games are a power fantasy, and that's okay. So, all right. Anyway, we got to move on to the next story. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. Thanks for the comments and all that. It's really cool. So, all right, Bluepoint. So Bluepoint Games are the studio that have done remasters for PlayStation exclusives like Demon's Souls, which is pictured here, as well as that, for whatever reason, completely under discussed Shadow of the Colossus remake, which was also really good as well. And they're laying off. The whole studio has been shut down by Sony. About 70 people are going to get laid off. Closure hits March of this year, so it's coming up pretty quick. They were deep into a live service God of War multiplayer thing at the time, so maybe that's why. They could have just canceled the project. Nobody wants that anyway. But PlayStation boss Herman Hulst, when asked about why, he blamed budgets and market shifts. But fans are pissed. Says it's fallout from Sony's failed live service push. And so, I don't think that obviously Bluepoint is like they're going to recover. I think they'll be okay. But yes, Concord did a number on them. Yeah, you're right, Norwegian. I think they lost a lot of money and they're looking for places to trim. But I wouldn't have done it to Bluepoint Games. People like I think that for what they did, they were good at it. And they should have remade Bloodborne and then fired them. So
there seems to be this weird revisionist history that they're trying to get across that somehow Sony was profitable because of multiplayer. It's like no. Single player games were one of the defining aspects of the PlayStation, the PS2, into the PS3. All this thing with tiered service games and live service bullshit that started with PS4, really, and it was reinforced for a few years because of COVID-19. We're not all stuck indoors anymore, and the people who have like their little niche game that they're into for whatever reason, they're fine with that one. Like, people are not wanting to have 15 fucking live service games to just
people can only really commit to like one right at a time. So
yeah,
I mean, I still play Helldivers 2 every so often. That's it, that's basically the extent of it for me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, when they say the market's shifting, it's like the market didn't shift. You tried to shift it. If anything, the market's remained the same, and that's the problem, is that you wanted it to be this, tier-based subscription model that was never gonna work. This is like when they tried to push fucking NFTs on everybody, for the longest time, and that didn't actually hold any interest of the actual customer base, because people don't want to have to pay for stupid fucking digital bullshit that costs nothing, and then you're trying to ascribe a value to it. It doesn't have any inherent value. It has a cost, sure, but why would anybody spend that if it's not worth anything? And that's effectively.
They probably thought that because Bluepoint just makes remakes, they probably thought that they were the ones that were the most expendable. Whereas, like, I don't know, Sucker Punch, Naughty Dog, Santa Monica. Is Sucker Punch a Sony company still? No, they used to be.
Effective. Effectively,
yeah,
they're like a second. Yeah, they're like a second party.
I mean, I don't know what they are working on Wolverine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sucker Punch is working on Wolverine. Naughty Dog's working on that Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, and Santa Monica's got, I guess, like another. Well, I don't know, maybe another God of War or something. But yeah, I mean, of those studios, they probably think Bluepoint is the ones that are sort of the most expendable, but they're probably also the most solid, at least in terms of like what they were doing. They could have definitely gone into like PlayStation's like the old classics and remade some.
Yeah.
And probably done a really good job. So, you know what I think that should be remade? If they're going to do any remakes, I'm not necessarily in favor of remakes at all. But if they were going to try to do a remake, to like give it a, to bring it up to date in terms of graphics, but also like maybe alter the controls to be a little bit more in line with what people want to play now. Like, why wouldn't you bring back, say, War of the Monsters, which is like one of my favorite PlayStation 2 games, or one of the Twisted Metals, Twisted Metal Black, Twisted Metal 2. Those are the best Twisted Metal games. What about Vigilante 8? That was another really good game. What about I don't know, Ape Escape? Do people still play that? Ape Escape is good. The
closest thing you can get to Ape Escape nowadays is the Snake Tales in Delta, because they did put that back in there where you can where you're actually at least if you get it on the Steam version or the PlayStation version.
Ico.
Yeah, Ico. Oh, that's a great game.
Yeah. Ico.
Yeah.
There was also some solid RPGs, I think, that were, everybody talks about Legend of Dragoon and Wild Arms, and there was another RPG that is like on the tip of my tongue where you could do like fighting game like kind of like it had like combos in it. Xenogears, was it Xenogears or Xeno? Well, Xenogears is not Sony.
Xenogears definitely. Yeah.
Not Xenosaga, not the one with Cosmos, but the one. There was another one that started with Xeno that had like Chinese characters in it for some reason. But anyway, any of those. But it is unfortunate that these guys are getting cut loose. But I suspect that they have a good enough, CV and pedigree under their belt that they will be able to maybe do something else. What?
To kind of end up weathering the storm, and or at least. I don't know. It depends, because like you're casting 70 people to wind. I think that someone will hopefully we get like another Sandfall Studio kind of situation. Where, talented, skilled people can actually just figure out a way to still exist and work well together under their own efforts, rather than having to be under the giant umbrella of a corpo state. So yeah, I wish them best of luck, because the most everything that they've put their time and effort into was done in good faith. And
I think Bluepoint seems to be a solid studio. Maybe the problem is that their only real credit is the remakes. They do pretty good remakes. I'm just saying there's other remakes they could probably have been doing. They could have done a whole fucking series on that and made them cheap. I don't know. Anyway. Let's see what you guys are saying before I move on to the next story. So, Mastergo says there was a Matrix MMO, but it didn't last. I did play that one. I sucked. I got killed by roaches. I think that's like the lowest level enemies. It was the Matrix Online. I don't know if that might have been released in like alongside those other things to push this brand. You might be right about that. I don't remember the timing of it, but I do remember trying to play it, and it was I wasn't good at it. And I think somebody said that maybe it was earlier that the PlayStation 2 had online. Yes, I know. I have the modem on my PS2, and I played the online games I played on PS2, which I liked it. I mean, this was like the Japanese were very slow to adapt the online stuff for whatever reason. I know that early on, Japanese developers, they did awful online. Like, it didn't really improve for quite a while, which is why, like, for example, fighting games weren't really like plausible for online until like well into the PS3 that era. I like Japanese fighting games. I don't know about Mortal Kombat, but I had the modem, and I think the two main games I played on there were Resident Evil Survivors, I think it's called, or the one where you had like 4 players and you had to work together. Right. It wasn't called Resident Evil Survivors. No. Resident Evil Outbreak, which was awesome. Although I couldn't like really find people to play with, and again, like back then, the internet connections, like the servers were awful, so it was like hard to find people to play with. And also Final Fantasy 11, which I actually invested way too much time into as the first Final Fantasy MMO. And back then, you had to like log into another app, which I can't remember, in order to play Final Fantasy, and everything took forever to do. And again, it was like an early Japanese MMO. It might have been one of their first, because before that, all the MMOs were like, I think it was like Ultima Online, EverQuest. I think it was EverQuest, and there might have been one other one. So like MMOs were very, very new, and I played a lot of Final Fantasy 11. And again, I didn't get anywhere in those. So I didn't really start. I kind of stopped playing MMOs because they were fun, but like it was too much of a time investment to like get anywhere in them. I think that they probably improved a lot. I've heard lots of good things about Final Fantasy 14, for example, and but I never got into World of Warcraft. I never got into Oblivion Online or any of those other, or was it Elder Scrolls Online, I think it's called. And I'm not against MMOs, but they're just not for me. So, but yeah, I played a lot of Final Fantasy 11. Let me see. So yeah, Norwegian says, wow, Concord really fucked Sony up. Yeah. Highguard, by the way, which we'll talk about a little bit later, also a massive failure, unfortunately. Mr. 303 says the Shadow of the Colossus remake was solid. Yes, it was. Norwegian says, amen to that, John. He's echoing your comment about single player experiences being what people prefer. Let's see. Mr. 303 says, God of War Ascension multiplayer mode was all right, but not necessary. Yeah, they tack that stuff on. Murder of Crows says, Sony shot themselves in the foot trying to release 24 live services. They were spending fortunes making competitors to the one emerging live service game they're hoping will crush Fortnite. What a waste. Yeah, don't bother with that, because Fortnite is already, like, a lot of young people have moved away from Fortnite anyway. They're playing like Valorant, or they're playing Roblox or something else. So it's almost like these people are playing catch up and they're way behind on this stuff. And yeah, I think it's gonna hurt them. I mean, you can just go boot up Team Fortress 2. I was literally thinking about playing Team Fortress 2 today. Like, I've never played it before, and I have it. And I was thinking about playing it just to see, because I've been thinking about hero shooters and what like where, you know, like these companies are trying to go, and I'm looking at the ones that worked, and Team Fortress 2 is the one. It's like the alpha. And then I think, and I'm saying this, I'm just giving it all due credit, Overwatch is like second place, maybe, you know, or at least it was like when it first launched, and then they like dropped the ball, and now they're trying to come back, and they have come back. Like, they did a big change and release a whole bunch of heroes at once, and but the reason is they're directly trying to compete with Marvel Rivals, because Marvel Rivals has been taking their lunch, and so Blizzard is stepping up and they're trying to like compete. And I think this is good, because this is what competition looks like. It should bring out the best in people. So they got away from all the gay shit, and they're just releasing characters now, and they're just making gameplay. And but again, Team Fortress 2 is still it's probably still king. And I'm curious, because like whatever Valve does, they kill it, you know. Like, I'm still trying to get into the Deathlock servers. I put the requests and everything, and I was told don't bother them. So I haven't heard from them yet, but I hear it's actually not hard to get into the beta. I'm still waiting to hear back, but I hear that is really good too. So it's almost like Valve, they just need to release a game every once in a while, and then it like has enough life in it that it can just stick around for years and years. So yeah, I mean, this is like this is the model, right? Yeah. And I think that all these other guys are just playing catch up.
Indeed, which again goes back to something I know we've mentioned here before, that a real state of immersion does not come from chasing after realism. It comes from having diegetic worlds that substantiate themselves, and everything works together within the framework. Because you're playing through Fallout right now, right? And not necessarily the world's most pretty game, but it's immersive as fuck, because it's true to what the state of what it's doing is throughout the experience. And Team Fortress 2, though nearly 20 some odd years old at this point, nearly 20 years old or even older, it was stylized, and because it was stylized and kind of have like this specific kind of look to it, doesn't look dated. It still just plays and does what it needs to do, and it functions, and it actually it keeps the focus on the fans and the play experience, and not all this just superficial bullshit. It's about the aspect of the game experience itself.
Yeah. Norwegian says you'll love playing as soldier in Team Fortress 2, Brian. Actually, I'm interested in the medic and the heavy. So
every character class is great, especially when you start watching those meet the characters.
Yeah, I've seen those before, but like the thing is that I assume that some characters have like a slightly higher, like they call for a slightly higher skill level than others, like the sniper. Like, you don't want to be an awful sniper, in any of those games. So like the sniper is probably for people who are good at that, like at landing hits. But I tend to, when I'm like starting a new kind of game like that, I tend to like lean towards the tanks or the healers, because first of all, I know that most people don't want to play those, so I can get into it. But the other thing is that it's like a good way for me to learn the game, because like if you're a tank, then you're basically like taking damage while you're like getting a sense of things, and you're not spending all your time dying, and you can blame other people if you get killed. Like, well, why aren't you healing me? And then if you're a healer, then you can just hang back and heal, and if you get killed, you can say, why aren't you protecting me? So
Right.
you know, it's it's how I learn. So anyway, let's see. Team Fortress was a fan-made add-on to Quake. Yes, the original one was, and the characters didn't look as cool. They were kind of like generic soldier-looking dudes, if I remember correctly. It hired the makers, and that's where Team Fortress 2 was born. Salt Peter Taffy says Spy is the highest skill floor character. Heavy is probably the most accessible. Yeah, that's what I thought. Just based on like I said, my experience playing Overwatch and Marvel Rivals. I figured that's what it was. So, all right. Anyway. Thanks, guys, for all of your thoughts. Oh, one last thing. Master Goa says Xenogears' main character was Chinese. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. He was like a kung fu guy. I need a remaster of Xenogears. That would be great, wouldn't it? That'd be really cool. All right, anyway. So, yeah, that Legend of Dragoon, is that the one where the characters had all this armor and shit? It was like an RPG? That was another one that everybody talks about. But we're going to move on to another story now. Let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. All right, so we got some legal stuff that I want to touch on. Valve was involved with a lawsuit against Lee Rothschild, and he smoked him. Valve did.
Right.
Beat them. The guys filed 1,200 lawsuits in total. Back in 2023, he sued them over some software patents, but Valve flipped it, countersued under Washington's Patent Troll Prevention Act, saying it was some bad faith nonsense. The jury ruled on the 17th, so just like a few days ago. Valve wins on every count. Rothschild's crew breached a 2016 licensing deal, violated anti-troll laws. Valve pockets about $152,000 in damages and hits them personally, not just the shell companies. This sets a big precedent. This is why I'm happy about this. It makes it riskier for these kinds of, like they call them patent trolls. They're like really rich people that buy a bunch of patents, basically.
Right.
Like the Rothschilds. And it makes it riskier for them to hide behind affiliates, and it could scare off more shaky claims against tech firms. So let me see. I have some. This is a solid W for gaming, especially for people who want to, they're basically like not looking for the this kind of bullshit to happen. So, and the thing is that I don't think this is over because I think that Valve is searching for more damages now. So, a Washington jury has favored Valve in its lawsuit against the patent troll inventor Lee Rothschild and a myriad of his associated companies for breaching a contract and violating a state patent protection law. According to reports by Bloomberg and PC Gamer, the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Washington favored Valve on all counts as part of a lawsuit that dates back to 2023, July. In a minute filed on February 17th and uploaded by Bloomberg Law, the count determined that Rothschild and his affiliates violated Washington's Patent Troll Prevention Act and Consumer Protection Act, as well as breaching the contract. Rothschild and Valve have a storied history, with the two being in and out of courts since at least 2016. The supposedly inventor, has an assortment of patents, both granted and pending, under his name that extends to a broad array of fields, including barcodes and QR codes. Many of his companies deal in patents too. For example, Rothschild Broadcast Distribution Systems owns patent US 8856221B2, which is a system and method for storing broadcast content in a cloud-based computing environment. Valve obtained a perpetual, irrevocable, royalty-free, fully paid worldwide license for it and others in Rothschild portfolio in 2016. Rothschild sued Valve in 2022 for patent infringement and again in 2023 over the same patent. Valve has alleged that in this lawsuit that Rothschild and several of his companies named in the lawsuit, RBDS Display Technologies LLC, Patent Asset Management LLC, Myler Legal LLC, and Samuel Myler were guilty of bad faith assertions of patent infringement. The company claimed that this litigation created threats over software technology Valve can legally use, effectively making patent trolls easier to target. So they have yet to comment on the ruling publicly, but Rothschild must pay damages, declare the patent discussed in the lawsuit is invalid, and provide injunctive relief to Valve. So big win for Gabe. I don't know what you guys think about that. But yeah, this is pretty scummy. So, John, I don't know if you want to say anything about that.
Well,
or if you knew about this.
I have no love lost for anything that anyone with the last name Rothschild is involved with.
Yeah, right.
So the more of this that can happen, the better. I think that they can get cock blocked at every legal endeavor that they've tried to, find their ways of undermining the stability of industries or countries or what have you. Yeah, I'm here for that all day long. And I don't know if he's just unfortunately shares the same name as the wider parasitic elites. The idea of even calling them elites is kind of whatever. But yeah, I don't know if this is just a kind of it's a coincidence that he's got the same last name, but certainly the same kind of.
But apparently, I tried to see if there was a relationship between this guy and the Rothschilds, and I keep running into no, but come on,
but still nonetheless, right? Exactly, and that's where I'm like, but it does seem kind of like this is their MO, and so yeah, maybe it's just something. Maybe it's just the moon speak of the name.
There's probably a relation that's a little bit distant. He's probably not. He's not one of the banksters per se, but still seems pretty scummy, anyways.
Right, so. And that's what I'm saying. Yeah, anybody with that kind of not being able to fuck people over via legalism. Yeah.
Did you know? Speaking of Rothschilds.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have this as one of the stories, but did you know that a couple of the ladies from The View, Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar, are in the files?
Oh yeah,
a lot.
Yeah,
do you know that? Also, Chelsea Handler, I think, is in the files. A lot of women in there that no one wants to talk about, but I'll probably bring that up on my new show later. Next week, but yeah, interesting. And of course, Prince Andrew arrested.
Right. Of course, the sad thing about his arrest is it has absolutely nothing to do with the Biscayne Island stuff directly. It's it has to do with some other kind of information that was being communicated in a way that shouldn't. So I don't know that I don't want to get completely, again, this is another one of those tangents that could go anywhere, but and spend all day on. But yeah, it is kind of interesting the state of play that is happening as far as all that is concerned, and how many people who, even with the information that we already know coming out about it, are still trying to act like, oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist. None of that stuff is like.
Well, I mean, they wanted the files released, so now we're releasing them, and well, they're being released, and people are learning, and it's funny, people are in them. That I'm not that surprised. I'm expecting more as things go on, but yeah. The View, pretty chummy with the island.
Yep.
Anyway. So so anyway, with the Rothschild thing, I guess we'll see. This is supposedly going to set some precedent. We'll see, at least in terms of like patent trolling. I think that I had Mentis Wave on a while back, and he was talking about how we need to like essentially get rid of patents because they are I think it's patents he was talking about, because they basically like prevent growth, because like you can just call, like it's like Nintendo, they patented essentially storing creatures inside of balls, or shapes, and they were going after Pal World, or I think, didn't they like patent something else like ridiculous? Like, couldn't somebody just patent health bars? Is what I'm saying. Like, we can't like that. That's because that's what Valve was fighting Rothschild about, and they won. So I guess we'll see where it goes from there. Let me see what you guys are saying in the comments. So, let's see. Murder of Crows says patent trolls are scum. Yes. Norwegian Black Templar says, why would the Rothschilds sue Valve? Who knows? Raging Rat says, could this be used to help emulators, ROMs, and or mods? I don't know. Potentially. I mean, a lot of, there's like really great developers that are totally fine with mods. Like, I know that Valve is okay with it, for example. So, yeah, so I could be That'd be something worth looking into. Murder of Crows says the whole town in Texas that lives off patent trolling. It's a whole industry there. Ugh. Yeah. And Norwegian Black Templar says Rothschild is one of those names you don't get by accident. So anyway, let me know what you guys think about this one in the comments. We're going to move on to the next topic. All right. So GDC.
Yes, right around the corner.
Got announced. Yep. Just a couple days ago, and it's going to be hosted by none other than Sam Maggs. So, you guys know who Sam Maggs is? I'm going to show you this video. It's only 50 seconds long.
I'm assuming
it should be enlightening.
Yeah.
So let's give a listen. Let me see if there's sound. I hope there is. Let me see.
Yep.
No, I gotta restart it. I gotta do it over. Sorry.
I can hear it at least. But while
I gotta do it. I just gotta share
while you're getting it restart, I know initially, and this is kind of one of those nice things. Hideo Kojima was set to do the opening keynote address about the benefit of going independent, and right at the last minute, under a month away from, he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that." So yeah,
dodged a bullet there.
Right.
Okay, let's this is Sam Maggs. Do you guys know who Sam Maggs is?
Be honest,
yeah, I think she's a comic book writer. I know the name.
Like a troon.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I can't say that I know much more.
Yeah, she's a writer and comic book author. A trans person. No, Sam Maggs, not Maggs Visaggio, unless that's the same person. I'm not really sure.
I don't think that they are. But I mean, as much as there are people.
All right. Yeah, so she is, of course, she's fucking Canadian. Of course she is.
Of course.
So she's a Canadian New York Times bestselling author, Eisner-nominated comic book writer, and video game journalist. So basically, just the absolute picture of SJW. She wrote for Star Wars, and she wrote for Marvel's Unstoppable Wasp. She wrote for Spider-Man 2. She's a senior writer there. Anthem. Woof.
List of
Call of Duty Vanguard, Critical Role, now brand and content strategy at Critical Role. So absolutely like pause. But basically everything she's attached to, you should just get away from. I think this is a dude. I'm fairly certain this is a dude.
Fairly certain.
Anyway,
that's pretty. Yeah, that's
fairly certain.
Dude's almost.
And this could be, by the way, this could be a sign that the GDC is like falling, because they probably paid this person almost nothing to do this. But anyway, let's listen to this.
Hi everybody, I'm Sam Maggs, and I am thrilled and honored to be returning as your host for this year's Game Developers Choice Awards. Games really are more important than ever, not just as tools of escapism, but really as a means of putting yourself directly into someone else's shoes at a time when empathy feels like the key to our future. It's my joy and pleasure to be able to help recognize the devs who are still out here making art, even in the face of all of this. So join me, your colleagues, and our industry on Thursday, March 12th at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, live from San Francisco, and on all of our GDC online channels, where we will be celebrating the best that gaming had to offer in 2025, and I will be trying to make jokes that do not get me fired or...
All right.
You are
Let's
a
go
joke.
do that again.
Right.
And we're going to look at because there's what she's saying and there's what she actually feels.
Yeah, this is corpo speak. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think she thinks it's clever, but
yeah, I do wonder how this person feels about.
Are you getting an echo? Is that from me?
No, it's just when you play the video, it's ever so slight, but it's not like happening.
Okay.
It's not happening like a delayed thing, so it's not too terrible. It's just you can kind of hear a little bit of separation.
I'm sorry, Raging Rat. I'll try it. I'll see if it. Okay, let's see.
I'm Sam Maggs, and I am thrilled and honored.
Wait, what's with this satanic circle? What is this?
Well, I mean,
what is that? Are you trying to summon a demon? I think you might be trying to summon a demon.
Pretty sure that is what is happening. I do wonder what this person's look, this is like cope wrapped up as marketing, because again, you weren't supposed to be the host. Hideo Kojima literally canceled. They got a hold of you at last minute because they knew that you weren't busy. They knew like they're just like, oh yeah, let's get that person that did this last.
All right, so Sam Maggs is a woman. Mags Visaggio is trans.
Okay,
but Sam Maggs here is a woman, just a lesbian. Correct. So hence the cat and the sadness and anxiety. Okay, but anyway.
And I am thrilled and honored to be
I have a logo, whatever. No, that's an ugly ass logo.
returning as your host for this year's Game Developers Choice Awards. Games really are more important than ever, not just as tools of escapism, but really as a means of putting yourself directly into.
So she says we have to say this because we are going through a late stage capitalist dystopia. What does that mean? What does it mean? You know what I think? I think these people say late stage capitalism they repeat it over and over in the hopes that it'll convince people that it's true. And then people, you know how the stock market is susceptible to the emotions of people, where you can get them to feel a certain way about a company, and then they like sell because because you're scaring them. And so the stock goes down because people are afraid, or the stock goes up because people are, for whatever reason, encouraged to. But it doesn't actually bear on the reality of how things do, but rather on the emotions of the people investing in it.
Yeah, the term late stage capitalism is exactly that. It is a method of poisoning the well for small business entities, so that corporatism, which is the actual real problem, gets completely overlooked, and instead you're sitting here trying to say, oh, it's capitalism that does this. No. There's nothing wrong with being prosperous and actually having a business that caters to your customer base. Corporatism is consumerism and all the fuckery of the last 40 plus years of diminishing returns of actual legitimate economic growth and everything like that, and coalescing all these goddamn money dragons effectively in these giant corpulent corpo hellscape structures. Capitalism in and of itself flawed as everything is, but capitalism is certainly far better than the alternatives, because corporatism is really just an interesting way of getting back to effectively techno-feudalism and having lords that you're beholden to. So the late stage capitalist dystopia is just some branding to try to make you get your eye off the ball of the fact that she's actually a corporate fucking mouthpiece herself.
Yeah, she's just saying this, but I think she's trying to emotionally affect people into being essentially nihilistic about the idea of property rights, because that's all it is. Like, capitalism is just property rights. That's why I don't say the word capitalism. I say property rights, because capitalism is a commie buzzword created to essentially attach a morality to the concept of property rights that is negative. Right. So when someone says late stage capitalism, that's just commie shit. They're just being commies. And I'm not going to have it. So of course she has, again, this is all like, I can't stand the way these people communicate, because it's all so disingenuous. Let's go back, listen to she's got this happy fucking music playing, but she's saying something that sounds nice, but then she's showing you something that is like, essentially her worries about the future, her concerns, right? This doesn't come across as funny. No. It comes across as manipulative and dark. So anyway, listen.
Games really are more important than ever, not just as tools of escapism, but really as a means of putting yourself directly into someone else's shoes.
So she's not even serious about that, but she's also serious about that. Like, she's walking contradictions, right?
Right.
Why are women like this? Like, what? I'm sorry, Toasty. I see you in the chat, but
we do not have the time to get into that, unfortunately.
I know.
Right.
I know.
But yes, good rhetorical question.
So anyway, but yeah, like it comes across as really manipulative, and I hope people can see through it. The American 7408 says, first of all, I am a leftist communist. Okay, I just wanted to say that. I mean, if that you're welcome to have terrible ideas if you want. I mean, you're fine with that, but yeah, I mean, you're welcome to it. It's a free country.
Indeed.
Anyway, but like they said, like if she, okay, let me put it this way too. If she really felt that this is what we were living through, why would she promote video games and not like just start a revolution? Why would she be hosting the Game Developers Conference if it was all for nothing? Like, is she really nihilistic? She's getting paid to do this, by the way. She's getting paid probably pretty well to do this job,
especially since it's
is
last
that
minute.
Still late stage capitalism, though.
Right.
So, anyway, what was that?
I said, especially since she is getting pulled in at the last minute, I bet she actually is getting a boost off. She's probably actually still getting paid less than they would have, offered Kojima to do what he was doing. But yeah, I can't imagine that she's not getting paid, and she's probably getting paid more than the last time because of the short notice, and they need to put a spin on it and, try to act like, oh no, this isn't like our entire fucking event is collapsing in the footprint of its own mediocrity, and all the other stuff that goes along with the ideological capture that has been exposed by various people on the internet and other media sources about the way that GDC is structured and what it's actually its actual intent is these days, because GDC in and of itself is a cover event for the goings on of the globalists.
Yeah,
I assure you, there will be another on a random Tuesday. There will be another 8-hour session that has to do with.
Wasn't the guy from Activision on the list too? In the files.
Yeah, because I mean, if it weren't for GDC, Brian and I would not be doing this show together, because that's how he found out about me back when I used to actually make videos. I did an expose on how GDC works and what it's actually legitimately about, which is
absolutely
corporatism incarnate.
And she is ultimately a useful idiot.
Yep.
That's why I know, like, she can have the inherent contradictions. It's like inability to even understand the way our world runs, right? To where you can, on the one hand, participate in a system of property rights and trade, while on the other hand, acting like that does that it's failing, right? Even though she's completely fine, she's probably really well off, and I mean, that's what I'm guessing. She's like, middle class, if not higher up, making good money, and she's still whining.
Yeah.
So, okay. The American 7408 says, you don't start a revolution. That's not how you get communism. Those are the old ways of thinking. You have to get communism by taxing the rich. Like Marx said, capitalism will destroy itself. Well, we're still waiting for that to happen. I would also like to mention we will never achieve communism in our lifetimes. Okay. So you see what I mean by contradictions? I believe in this thing that'll never happen. Okay, well, I believe that, the Santa Claus is real and he's going to bring me presents on Christmas, even though I know it'll never happen. I believe that I will meet the ghost of JFK and he'll tell me, like, who actually killed him. I mean, look, like I said, you're allowed to have whatever ideas you want.
Yeah,
but that doesn't make them right.
Authoritarianism has used a lot of different banners.
And there are a lot of people that are legitimately trying to start violent revolution. So you might not believe in it, but it's happening.
Right.
So people are getting killed and killing themselves. But yeah, I mean, go ahead, support that. That's fine. Yeah. So anyway, let's continue this. So now we're going to get a little peek into this person's mental state.
A time when empathy feels like the key to our future.
So again, this is feminist gobbledygook. We just need more empathy.
Right. This is kind of the thing they used to try to sell communism, of what the person in the chat was just referring to, of like, oh, well, it's about just taxing the rich. It's not what it is.
All right. Anyway,
It's my joy and pleasure to be able to help.
I'm so stressed out. Look at this. Like this person should probably not. They should probably just be like in an asylum. I'm so stressed out. This is just so she reminds us that she is a head case, probably on SSRIs.
Pleasure to be able to
Tips for anxiety.
help recognize the devs.
The look of a woman. Wait, what is who? The look of a woman who feels normal. I don't.
Devs who are
Okay,
still
seriously,
out
you're
here
the
making
okay.
art,
So
even in the face of
I don't need to put photos here. You know what I mean. So this is a one of these like, don't you see how terrible things are? If you don't see it, then I'm not going to tell you about it. It's literally a woman saying, you know, if you don't know why I'm mad at you. So, and this is why okay. The American says, oh my God, never mind. You guys are two Americans. It's funny how you guys are going to have this conversation, us Americans, when your whole entire financial system is about to. But you're literally the American 7408. Are you not American? Tell me, are you American or not? James OP says they are only empathetic if you think just like them. Yes, that's right. Toasty says, I hate white women, but I like them at the same time, especially redheads. Magical thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is this presumption. She's basically saying, isn't it obvious to everyone that everything is terrible right now because, I don't know, we're deporting illegal aliens and we're putting up a wall and we're trying to like get some kind of financial sovereignty and we're ending wars and we're becoming energy independent and we're like taking out communist dictators. Isn't it terrible that all those things are happening? Isn't it terrible? And I mean, you can point to actual criticisms, but she's not making those criticisms.
No.
She has a problem with whatever the TV tells her to have a problem with. Right?
Right,
Is this
right.
more TDS? Yes. Yes, it is. Of course. These people are broken. Okay? They're broken. They're on meds. They think the world is ending. Like some of them, they're just broken. I can't help them. Furious Dan, hey, what's up?
Hey, Dan.
The American says, just like the Christian God is fake. Okay, well, are you American? The American 7408? So, Toasty says she doesn't know why she's upset. She's pretending. Well, ultimately, this is virtue signaling. All these people do is lie, 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 lie. Yeah, I mean, they are signaling to people. So this is what really upsets me about these people is that none of their emotions are genuine. It's performative. It's basically a show. And the point of the show is to get other people to say, oh, I totally relate. I totally get it. And then it becomes a competition. Who feels more? But nothing happens. Thanks for sharing the stream, Toasty. But nothing happens, right? It's all just for that. Of course, some things do happen. People do get hurt because occasionally you do this to a crazy person that wants to act it out, you know, and they might hurt someone or they might hurt themselves. They might go out and, you know, try to like block an SUV with their body or something. And that happens and these people don't care about that. You know, they don't really care about the cause. They care about looking like they're a good person, not even being a good person, looking like they are good people. And this is why I always try to point out that the limitations of liberalism, and I'm going to say liberalism, the limitations of liberalism is that it is built on a foundation of I am a good person that believes the good things, and that's what makes me this. And so therefore, my positions cannot be opposed by anyone except people who believe the bad things and are bad people. And it sounds childish, but it is the reality. This is what they think.
When you enter
when
into
she says the world is garbage because there's so many people who are not as good as I am, she's just talking about herself.
Right. When you enter into the discussion with the mindset of a moral and ethical imperative that gives you some kind of high ground that no one can actually have a conversation with you on a level playing field, then that is not being done in good faith. But that is kind of the conceit of these, communist-driven kind of mindsets to begin with. Which again, if you actually look into the way that communism has a centralized access of control and then filters downward onto everyone else, it's far more in line with corporatism and things like that. So you can sit here and have your beliefs, obviously, but I would say that if your beliefs are worth a damn, you should probably look to challenge them and see if they actually hold up against the scrutiny of what you want your beliefs to be, and just the way that you accept it in your mind. And if and maybe maybe you'll actually be willing to do that exercise, or not, and that's entirely up to you. By all means, feel free to keep commenting in the chat. We do encourage the discussion here, but I would say that
I think they might just be trolling. He hasn't said anything in a while, but yeah. I think he's just trying to get under my skin.
Right.
So,
but
I'm not bothered by it.
Yeah, no, and that's because that's at the end of the day what we're saying is like we're challenging your. If you're here to challenge our belief, then it's like I've seen what communism leads to, I myself am a big proponent of talking about the ills of corporatism and its overreach, trying to undermine the nationalistic identities and cultures through money markets, things like that, which again is ultimately just trying to drive its way towards a globalist control scheme that is the ultimate goal of communist mindsets and how to have everyone be equal under the boot of oppression. So,
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Yeah, I think you're just a troll American. You said, "Oh my God, I'm listening to an MAGA live. Wow, how in the fuck are you guys across my feed? Get out of here with your fucking protection of pedophilia. You guys are the GOP guardians of the pedophiles.
Okay.
Where are the Jeffrey Epstein files?" Yeah, we just talked about them. They're being released. Did you know that Whoopi Goldberg and the Rothschilds and Prince Andrew and a lot of other lefties are in there? Did you know that? It's backfiring on you guys. I don't know. I was talking about it before you knew about it. But again, are you actually American? Because I have a feeling you are Eurotrash, and I'm not listening to Eurotrash opinions. This is an American channel, so you can hate on it if you want to. Okay, but anyway, so that was Sam Maggs. I mean, basically, she is basically like a sign that things are getting worse for them, I think, and this is really desperate. So I'm not going to play any more of this video. She basically just says she's going to be hosting the GDC, and I did see a good comment though. I will look at some people that had to say some things here. Saltpeter Taffy, hello. Yeah, put an eagle on the screen. Yeah, let me get some eagles in the chat, guys. Toasty says she doesn't know why she's upset. Yeah, I read that one already. Sam Maggs was one of the key people during the start of Gamergate. She was one of the people who kicked Allison out of Calgary Expo. I knew that name. Yes, she is. So in 2015, I think it was, or 2016, I think it was 2015. I went to Calgary, Alberta, and it's actually where I met Allison and the other honey badgers for the first time. And we went to a convention because Allison was trying to sell a comic book. Mm-hmm. And she got kicked out because they discovered that when we set up a booth and everything, we paid for it, all of it. We got all of them. I drove across the country to get there. Some people flew in. One guy flew in from Britain or London to come, not London, but England. And we were all there. And like the first day, we were doing fine. We were chill. We didn't cause any problems. Allison went to a panel. It ended up being like a women in comics panel. She debated somebody a little bit. The conversation was cordial, but then the women, after they entertained her and let her talk, they went right behind her back and they got the expo to kick us all out the next day. And she was permanently banned from like any conventions, even though we did nothing wrong. Canada, guys, they don't believe in free speech there. And Sam Maggs was one of the people, one of the key players behind that. So that's what happened. That's our experience with it over 10 years ago. We knew about this stuff.
Right.
Are you sure that's actually her? Yeah, it is. I confirmed it. Mags Visaggio is another comic book writer that's actually a trans woman.
Yeah.
This is a woman, but a lesbian, so a queer woman. Norwegian says, I think there's merit to the idea that women go crazy when they don't have children of their own to care for. Yes. Norwegian then says, Norway is currently on track for becoming socialist. I try to warn people, but they won't listen. Oh, but you're not doing it right. That's all. Then arrest them if Javier fucking Donald Trump arrest them. They are not on the left. You call them left because you are a product of neoliberalism. You don't know what I believe. Raging Rat says, Honey Badger Arcade, that was great. Thank you. Yes, Eagles. Eagles in the chat. Let's do more. Let's do more Eagles.
Yeah,
more
we got
freedoms.
some Eagles, we got some flags.
Yeah, Eagles and flags. I want them bouncing around the screen. Raging Rat says, oh, that's why I know her name. Yeah. Murder of Crows says, nah, backstabbers. Yeah, they totally did. That actually happened. And Allison never really recovered. Like, she's just been really anxious about going to any public events ever since then. Thank you, Toasty. Awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's these kinds of people that do stuff. And of course, Sam Maggs is, oh my God, no Canadian flags. Sam Maggs is Canadian. That's why I said, of course, it's a Canadian, because unfortunately, with the exception of Alberta's pretty based in terms of like provinces, but most of Canada is fucking cooked, dude. It's like basically China. Like, they're right at our doorstep. You know, everybody talks about the problems with Mexico, and yes, there's a lot of problems. I don't want cartels and fentanyl and shit coming across the southern border, but Canada is also a big problem. It's a big problem. Like, the communists are like our next door neighbors. Right. And they are. Like, most of them are. You know, it started with Quebec. Fucking Frenchies. They never learn anything.
right. And you know, just to since our American friend here in the chat is trying to say something about who we are. I'm probably one of the most open people about how much cynicism I have towards the rampant corruption throughout the entirety of the system of what is ostensibly in many ways a uniparty of control. But also, for nearly 10 years, I worked in a holistic naturopathic doctor's office in, hipster Shangri-La of Kirkland, Washington, which is basically clean Seattle where only the well-to-do can live. And I was surrounded by so many echo chambering, well-to-do women that, spoke in platitudes of what is, just high-mindedness and all this kind of just trite bullshit, right? And, they had no problem at all constantly gaslighting themselves to gaslight other people around them, all in the ability to sit here and make themselves feel as though they were somehow at one with the universe, when you would actually go and talk to them about things like actual legitimate accountability about matters of their health and wellness. And all of a sudden now, the guy who's actually hired to do the thing and do all these, tasks and just kind of look out for the situation, well, all of a sudden now he's just the creepy guy who just needs to get the hell out of here because, I'm actually bringing down the mood of the room because I want people to actually take some level of accountability and responsibility within their own life. And they just want to think that they can just, vision board their way through reality and it will just happen because I'm manifesting. That ain't how that shit works. All right. So as someone who put in all the time and the effort to actually support a community that was just up its own ass and around the corner, but was still willing to deal with it, because ultimately I'm just like, your beliefs are your beliefs, my beliefs are my beliefs, and we all believe in bullshit effectively to some degree. They were all too quick to go and dispose of me and throw me out into the street when push came to shove. They pushed me out and they shoved fucking needles in their arms and got themselves fucking, inoculated with a fucking bioweapon. So you want to sit here and talk about your high-mindedness of your moral superiority of the way that you look at the situation? You're fucking deluded. But feel free to say whatever you want.
Well, like I said, I don't think he's American. I think he sounds like a Euro fasci. So anyway, let's move on to the final story. And Toasty says, I appreciate when John tells me to shut up and listen to him. I try to listen in sometimes, but I zone out sometimes. Yeah, I get it. Okay, anyway, let me know what you guys think about this one in the comments. We're going to move on to the last topic. And if there's a little bit of time, we can look at some cake.
Oh yeah,
or at least talk a little
Will
bit about some cake.
He's pushing back his start time, so we go a little over it. Shouldn't...
Huh?
Will's pushing back his thing a little bit, so we're in the clear.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, okay. All right, so Eurogamer just released an article based on a 164-page report from Epilon, and they look at gaming trends. So the title of it is "The State of Video Gaming in 2026," and games appear to be losing the attention war in 8 key markets: the U.S., Japan, the U.K., and others. I have the graph here.
I apologize. Owl's going ape shit in the background. If anybody hears it, the pigeon that lives outside my window with all of its pigeons is just squawking away. So I apologize to anybody who hears that. I see.
Yep. No, that's all right. Let me see here. A new report by Epilon, gaming industry advisory company headed by venture capitalist and market guru Matthew Ball, has broken down a state of video game industry and has published data indicating the medium is losing the war for people's attention to other ventures, including gambling, crypto, and pornography. The report, a lengthy 164-page presentation, which you can and should read yourself, dedicates a whole section called "Video Games Are Losing the Attention War in the Major Market 8" to the topic. So the markets are the USA, Japan, South Korea, the UK, Germany, France, Canada, and Italy. These countries used to make up, before the pandemic, over 60% of total spending on video games. After the pandemic, almost all of these regions has seen a drop in the gaming population. In the US, 2.5 to 4 points worth of players have stopped playing video games. The Canadian Trade Association found in its latest report that roughly 1 in 6 players prior to the pandemic have stopped playing. These decreases in participation have resulted in a drop in spending. In the US, PC and console spending is down 8% since 2020, which comes down to roughly $2.3 billion. Mobile gaming annual growth in terms of spending has largely flattened, but it's still above 12% compared to 2020. So a lot more people are playing more on mobile a little bit. Mm-hmm. Total spending across all major market 8 regions on console and PC have shrunk by $4.8 billion, and mobile is down by $2.3 billion. All while 5 of these 8 markets are at all-time highs in terms of total spending. The money is instead going elsewhere, to Roblox, for example, which is why I'm showing this. So Roblox is getting a lot of money.
Right.
Which report states make up 67% of net growth. So, yeah, go ahead.
My immediate, thoughts on it would be that it's because of perhaps, I don't know, homogenization of the gaming experience, and also just the fact that global inflation rates have kind of made something that is a luxury pastime. Something that people just don't have as much ability to go and say, oh, I'm going to drop $50 to $70 to $80 to $150 on a gaming experience that is exactly like the games that I can easily, already have access to in my library that I've been playing for 20 some odd years. It looks a little bit nicer, this is why we saw in 2025 the rise of AAA actually just coming in and saying things. And giving stories and doing projects and not just making product that is just more just a skin job on the exact same experience that you get from any other AAA game entity that's going to charge you through the nose for something that isn't worth your time or effort or interest, or actually going to try to show you the respect of giving you a captivating experience that's immersive. So
Yeah.
and especially with what's happening with AI and the ability to just go and create your own stories and have the thing happen. That is an interactive experience in and of itself. Learning how to bot whisper and all this kind of stuff. So the game industry, this is all the more reason why they need to actually start having smaller projects that are uniquely defined as to what it is that they're even trying to get across to an audience. And not the modern audience, but the audience that pertains to whatever their interest is as a creative entity.
Yeah. Well, I think that what's going on here is, well, first of all, yes, COVID has something to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
After COVID, there was a dip, and I think that there might be, because I think that something changed in people during that time, especially these young kids that are growing up now. You would think that they'd be more interested in video games, and I guess like Roblox is, because it is like a creative playground of make whatever.
Right.
That's probably why it's grown.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, if you were affected by the government's reaction, it's not the disease itself, but the government's reaction to the disease. Like if your particular country or state locked you in your house, made you take the jab or whatever it is, then it probably, like, especially if you're young, it probably affected your ability to socialize. And so you're basically more like, isolated or atomized. So where these people have gone, according to these reports, is gambling, pornography, and crypto. Kind of weird. But let's look at those things one at a time. The other thing is also the consumption of social media like TikTok is way up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing, is that
Also
maybe they're on TikTok and not playing games. Right? They're doom scrolling, which, again, I think that you could be prone to doom scrolling if you went through COVID and it wasn't like the best experience for you, because you're kind of glued to what's happening in the world. You're on the lookout for the next problem, right? Mm-hmm. I think that, like, even Sam Maggs, who we just talked about, was likely, because I bet she's the kind of person that got like all the boosters and everything. She's probably an anxious pile of goo because of that, and that's why she thinks everything is so, on the verge of collapse.
Right.
When it really was just her. She made life decisions. I thought a lot of these people did. I mean, if you're really young, you can't really. I'm not going to blame you for that, especially if your parents made you do it or something. But like, if you're a grown ass adult, which she is, then yeah, I'm going to be like, you didn't have to live that way. You chose that. You chose to trust the system that you claim to hate. Which means that you don't actually hate it. You just think that the system should be different. It should be your system. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all these alternatives are in and of themselves interactive, immersive endeavors that you get. They're more of a novel experience than a lot of games these days. So again, that's this is just the gaming industry not being focused on what its actual intent should be, which is an escape from realism. And actually giving people a suspension of disbelief, because the world itself is so far beyond parody at this point in time, and the insanity that it is. It's almost more interesting to look into the, how do I solve the mystery of the state of reality that seems, far more bizarre with every passing moment than a game that's just another, similar experience to what you've already done countless times. So at least that's my quick read on it. But let's break it down.
All right. So well, again, it's not easy to like figure out why things are happening. You can only speculate on that. But Zarang said, why not just say entertainment is losing attention overall? But I don't think it's entertainment is losing. I think that what people are calling entertainment has changed. So like the avenues changed. So like they're on TikTok. They are, and I'm sure, as if there were numbers for like who's watching streaming, shows, that's probably down too. I don't know. Like it was probably way up during COVID because everybody was inside, right? But like now that people, and it's winter time too, so like it's not like everybody's out as much because you might have gotten a lot of snow this year. I know that it got pretty bad for a little while. I don't know how you did. where you are, but
it was 70 degrees basically all the way up until a couple days ago, and now there's snow on the ground. But it'll
yeah. So like, yeah, but I mean, like, if you're like, it could just be like for the winter. But anyway, but here's the thing that I find concerning, and I do think it's true that like one of the reasons why gaming is not as attractive probably is because of like two things that might seem contradictory, but I don't think they are. One is a lack of affordable single player experiences that are not live service games filled with microtransactions that somebody can just get into and enjoy and then share their, because like one thing that I think people miss is that when you play those games, you talk to your friends about like your experience, like you share that. It's sort of like, you know, hanging around the water cooler and talking about your favorite show that aired, you know, on Sunday, whatever the new episode of Breaking Bad or The Sopranos or Game of Thrones or whatever it is, and everybody's got something to talk about. Oh, did you see the thing, right? And the purpose of it is it's a social, it creates a social component. That's why we have this stuff, because we share this together, right? Even if we're not with each other, and the same thing can apply to single player games. The other thing is that there should also be more multiplayer games that are, you know, for your friends, right? Like you use these tools to engage in something that is like encourages social interaction with people. And I think that, you know, I've been saying for a while, I think that's before we called it friend slop, I said that this was going to be a thing, and it is. Like there's a lot of games that people call friend slop, which are, you know, not expensive, sometimes free games that you play with your friends. And the purpose of it is to make it to where you're not going to, you know, be doom scrolling on your phone all day, or you're not. And I think these are potentially worse consequences, gambling. So the online gambling, I don't know if you guys have seen all of the ads for sports betting that have been popping up.
Oh, it's even better is the ones that are predictive futures, you know, like what? The predictive future things that they're trying to say, oh, you can make a prediction instead of we're just opening up the idea of gambling on everything. You know, for you can bet on anything now, but they can't call it a bet. They call it a prediction. And because they're labeling it a certain way, it's somehow able to bypass the laws that would otherwise govern it to not be in play. Yeah, which again, thank you, Epstein, for online sports betting and like betting in general has hit $17 billion in U.S. losses alone, up 35 times since 2019. The porn thing is OnlyFans and AI roleplay apps are way up. And this is only like reflecting on what I think is a loneliness epidemic, especially experienced by men, that's like driving into those apps as well. But these are they're not revenue generating things, especially gambling. Like gambling literally produces nothing. It just takes money away. Right.
So that's like, I mean, you might win, but like, the thing is, it's not like adding something. Like if you make a game or you make a new piece of technology or you make, you know, like even a piece of entertainment, it's like adding something into our culture, which enriches, right? But like gambling doesn't do that. It's just a sink,
right? Like
basically. And it's the young guys are losing a lot of money. Now, crypto is a lot like gambling in a way. I mean, it's for whatever reason, it's like something that like young people are really into. Maybe there's a status thing attached to it or whatever, but it is mostly, my concern is not necessarily the crypto stuff. Right. But I think the gambling especially and the porn also, because I don't think it's actually going to give you any real long-term satisfaction.
Right. You know? And as it applies to that part, I think that the growth of OnlyFans or Fansly's and other platforms such as that, and then the other side of the coin being these AI, girlfriends. These are different sides to the same issue of the inherent lack of intimacy that is a part of modern relationship bonding, more or less. And so, because in one aspect, a lot of women have been kind of, enchanted, as it were, to sit here and have all this expectation of a superficial kind of, there's a lot of gassed up mids that are setting themselves up for a giant fall. It's going to be really interesting in say 10, 15 years, where all these OF girls who've basically spent so much of their time find themselves now, just meddling mids that can't get attention anymore. That is going to be quite the crisis, which is why you see a lot of men who don't give into that and play to these superficial kind of wants and desires of trying to feel like they're still attached to something human in a parasocial relationship. Instead go and just have a virtualized one that is at least reaffirming of who they are as an individual, but doesn't actually have a legitimate groundwork for growth with another person. So they're both kind of just variations on the theme of this lack of intimacy and honesty that is capable to be had here in the 21st century because of all this overgrowth of not only just outright feminism, but the thing that we actually call it, the demasculinization of society, and taking away those archetypes of what the concepts of the masculine and the feminine, and how those actually have to be complementary to each other, like puzzle pieces that interlock. So
So, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. I think that I think it's just another reason why these, we need to address not just like the quality of games. Somebody mentioned couch co-op games. I think they are making a comeback though. Like there have been a number of, serious efforts to put back. And even that new God of War, wasn't that a 2-player? I think that's like a 2-player game. And of course, you have that studio that's made a couple of exclusively. I think there was It Takes Two, which I played with my wife, and they made that one available for free during COVID, which was kind of neat. And then there was another one that just came out that had 2 sisters, but I don't remember what it's called.
Split Fiction.
Split Fiction, yeah, that's right, Split Fiction. So yeah, I mean, and then the Marvel Cosmic Invasion. There's a lot of those coming out. There's a Reanimal just came out, which is made by the Little Nightmares people. It's a 2-player puzzle experience. So there's definitely a lot.
Is one of the game I will always herald as being a fun-filled experience where it's a cooperative, collaborative effort to get to the goal, and it's not just me versus you.
Yeah.
Helldivers, obviously, as well.
Helldivers, of course, yeah. I guess Arc Raiders is very popular right now. So I think that, these numbers we'll see, because it is wintertime and people are more locked in. Maybe this will change, but I think the industry, there are shifts happening, is what I'm saying. It's not coming from the AAA studios. It's coming from the AA's, which is what I've been saying for a while now. And I think that, and the indie ones. So we'll just have to keep an eye on it. But anyway, with that said, I think it's time for us to end the show here.
Indeed.
And there's plenty of local co-op games for sure. So we'll end the show here. So John, what do you got going on real quick?
Will is...
Wait, I'm sorry. Before you do that, I got a super chat I forgot to read.
Yeah. Of course.
James OP said, funny how leftist bungholes barge into people's spaces to be D-bags and complain about the conversation instead of running off to the safe space. Well, they can stay in if they want to, but usually they don't have an argument. They just call you names.
Right. How dare you not cater to me by coming in here and being
just call me a pedophile. That's not dangerous or anything. That's not that doesn't mean that you're not engaging in stochastic terrorism by doing that or anything. But yeah, I mean, they're welcome to be wrong. It's like I said, because they are wrong. But anyway, go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. I mean, there's nothing wrong completely undermining your whole conceit of we're compassionate and empathetic, and we just want to coexist by me coming in here and telling you how your viewpoint perspective, rather than listening and taking it in. I'm just going to now browbeat you and give you a lesson about moral superiority. But with what I'm actually up to today, Will should be starting to stream here probably within the hour's time, roughly. He's going to be doing an episode of Hyperdrive Time, which will lead into some Jackbox games. I will probably be there for a little bit. I don't know that I'll be able to be there for the full extent because today at 5 p.m. Eastern, Scooby Pup, as I mentioned, is celebrating her 50th episode of the podcast, which is her flagship series that she does. And I am one of many, many guests that has been there in the duration that will be celebrating that with her. Of course, my regular schedule throughout the week, you can always find me on Will the Fans channel, Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays starting at 10 a.m. Eastern. However, tomorrow for our review of Red Dwarf, we did have a technical issue last week. My Steam Deck wasn't up to snuff to actually, it was locked up. I had a soft lock issue, so we were only able to cover one episode. So we will be starting that tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern to make up for the episode that we weren't able to take care of otherwise. And then, of course, Toasty, who's here in the chat. I do multiple shows with her throughout the week at 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Rumble, because we're just staying the hell out of the exploitation ghetto, because every time she made advancements, they would find a way to go and move the goalpost or undermine all of her, efforts. And we have just now recently started doing a Fallout review series on Thursdays, which we had our first episode this past week. And I would say go back and definitely check that out, because I think that it is some of the best work that Toasty and I have done in putting a studio together, and just the way that it runs for the establishing of doing a review, I think is pretty interesting. But I'm always there with her throughout the week, Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then here with you on the weekends at 11 a.m. every Saturday that we can manage to get here without any kind of family issues or what have you getting in the way. But with that said, thank you, everyone. You took time out of your day to hang out with us in the chat. Even people that wanted to come in here and berate us and kind of try to derail the situation, only to actually strengthen our arguments. Thank you. We appreciate you all for your likes, your shares, your donations, and all that wonderful stuff. And always a pleasure having these conversations with you on the weekends, Brian. And so with that said, you all have a wonderful weekend going forward. Of course, safe travels ahead. Be awesome as always.
All right. Well, if you guys like this video, please hit like. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys think about what we talked about in the show today. And share the video, because sharing is caring. Hopefully, I'll see you guys on Tuesday, where I'll be continuing my blind first-time playthrough of Fallout New Vegas. I think I'm getting close-ish to the end. I just went underneath the... I think it's like a vault underneath the where the Legion is at. And there's like Mr. House monitor in there. So I don't know where that's gonna go, but we're in the underground bunker basically. But anyway, yeah, we'll pick it up on Tuesday. Thanks guys for coming on the show, and talk to you guys in the next one. Long live Vivian.
With the glass ceiling broken, all the oppressed groups shall prosper, especially the most oppressed group of all, gamers.
I want people in the industry to be a little bit louder about people being mean to other people, and maybe say it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe say we don't want you around if you're going to be a cunt.
Yeah.
And hateful. And that the games industry is diverse naturally. Not because anyone's making them be diverse. Because the world is diverse, you stupid motherfucker. And if you have a problem with that, come fight me. Physically. Bitch.
Has anyone taken you up on that yet?
No, because they're all pussies.
Yep.
Down here, salt is a way of life.
Obviously, the environment down here is all salt. The ceiling's salt, the floor is salt, the walls are salt, and to an extent, the air is salt. And you breathe that in, and you can constantly taste the salt.
Please give this video a like and subscribe!